Hi guys, in this section we're going to review the Nissan Leaf, and after 1 year of owning a Nissan Leaf and owning an electric car, I want to tell you a little bit about what it's like to own an electric car. I want to tell you that before we bought this car, me and my wife measured her daily driving many times and saw that we can actually have a Nissan Leaf because the range does fit us. But even before we had to pick up the car, my wife can testify that I was very nervous, and I was like, did we make the right call? And if you're a guy and you look at the design of this car, you will understand what I meant. But we were very positively surprised with this car. The range was actually more than what we thought. It's still not a lot. The driving experience of the car is extremely good, and it's one of the safest cars to have for a family. So I can strongly recommend this car if it's for your wife, and if you're a guy, then yeah, this design is not for you. Let's talk a little bit about electric cars. The reason why I think electric cars are so comfortable to drive and so awesome to have is that you actually do not have a clutch. So there is no gearbox here. There is only 2 stages of driving this car, and it's basically a D, which is drive, or a B, which I don't know what it stands for. But basically what it does is that it amplifies the regenerative braking. So whenever you lift your foot off the gas, the car starts braking and charging your battery, and it does give you extra range. And what it does is that it's almost like you're driving the car with 1 pedal, because you very often don't need to actually use the brake. And I love this. It's the same on a Tesla, but on the Tesla it's even more, like the braking effect is even more. Before we bought the Nissan, we very carefully made sure that we have a 3-phase at home that is working. And we were super glad when the Nissan came to find out that it doesn't have a 3-phase charging, only has slow charging. So we were lucky enough to find an outlet here on the wall, and this is how you charge the car. You take the key, you press this button, and the front opens, and then you just plug it in. And it charges about 10 kilometers an hour, so no, a bit more. So it basically takes about 10 hours to get the car fully charged. And I don't understand why Nissan doesn't have 3-phase charging. So this meter here is basically showing how economical you're driving. And the more economical you're driving, you're building up basically a Christmas tree here. And then when it's fully built from these lines, it goes over there, and you can get 4 Christmas trees here and 1 full here. And this is a completely useless feature when you have the Nissan Leaf, so I don't even know why I'm talking about it. The car also has keyless driving, which means that the key only has to be near the car. And I find this extremely comfortable, because to lock the car, you just have the key, press the button, and the car is locked. Or you unlock, and then you sit in, press the on button, and it drives, and you technically never have to have a key on you. It's very nice. This is the Nissan Leaf inside. Up here, this meter shows you how much power you're using on the car. When you're gassing, it goes almost to maximum, and when you use the regenerative braking, it comes these green dots here, and the more green dots, the more you're charging the battery. This here is showing you how much is left on the battery. And as I said, this is a bit tricky because it's somehow calculating some average of the car. So we have been driving on the highway, so this means that we have 47 kilometers of highway driving, but most probably if I would be driving in a city, this could even go up to 60. Then you have the dashboard over here, and it's quite modern. This is a touch screen. I'm generally quite happy with it, even though my wife is not happy with the GPS because she feels that sometimes it doesn't give enough instructions. It is quite an informative screen, and there's quite a lot of data you can get from it. You can even get like your range, how much energy your car is using, and the car on the inside is actually very comfortable. It has steering wheel heating, which is super nice in Sweden when it's winter. Seat heating, has a camera, parking camera like this. Overall, this car is very comfortable to drive, and because it's an electric car, it's really very good driving experience, very good road handling, very good to drive. This is the gearbox of the car. It's very much not like a usual gearbox, it's more like a joystick in a computer game. You see it's changing the gear very easily. Press this and you're in park. Very comfortable when you drive. Another thing that is very good with an electric car is the acceleration is instantaneous. My wife hates when I do it, but whenever you just put your foot on the gas, you just get this insane kick. And I'm a Tesla fan, and I thought that you get this kick on a Tesla because it's a Tesla, but you get it because it's an electric car. And this is the weakest battery, weakest engine on the Nissan Leaf, and you still get a very good kick out of this, and it's instantaneous. Another thing that I think is not really talked about enough is that an electric car is more expensive than a gasoline car, but it is a lot cheaper to own than a gasoline car. And what do I mean by that? First of all, is that 1 month of electricity in this car is ridiculous. It's costing us an average month, we pay about $50 in electricity for using this car, and we use the car quite a lot. The equivalent of this in gas would be maybe 6-7 times of this, and the monthly cost of this car is greater than the gasoline car that we had. But when you add together the gas, or in this case the electricity, this car was actually a saving for us, on top of all that were environmental friendly, and it is the safest car for the family. And on top of the gas savings, the electric car has nothing in it that could go wrong. So when you go to the service, they basically change your window wiper fluid, and that's it. Whereas when you have a gasoline car, you have to change oil, the clutch can go wrong, the spark plug can go wrong, there's a million things that can go wrong, but not in an electric car. The reason why an electric car is so safe for the family is because the electric engine is about the size of a watermelon, and what it basically does is that the rest of the car that doesn't get filled up with the clutch, the gas tank, these different things, they act as a crumple zone for the car, which makes it. Also, people associate that Tesla is the safest car, but it's not Tesla, it's the electric car. And the same thing goes for the Nissan. This has a 5-star safety rating in everything, and I'm extremely happy with that when my 2 kids and my wife is driving, because my wife is not a good driver.
It's not even true.
When you take the eco route takes you through some really weird places. Please have a look around.
Like this, middle of nowhere on the land.
Middle of nowhere, in like weird farmhouses. And let me tell you, it feels weird because we're in an electric car with a limited range. And imagine if it runs out here and you have to call a towing car or someone to come get you. There is like no way in here. We are in between 2 Swedish cities, and I think my wife was being over careful. We took the eco route, and instead of the highway, we are driving here. Let's talk about range anxiety. What a lot of people don't understand is, yes, it's true that the Nissan Leaf only has 100 miles or 160 kilometers in range, but electric cars are not like gasoline cars. Whereas gasoline cars, you feel full and then you drive until the tank is empty, and then you refuel. The electric cars, you always charge when you go home. So it's not true that in a day you can only drive 160 kilometers, because in our case, we take the kids to the kindergarten in the morning, we come home, we put the car in charger. Then we go to wherever we need to go, we come home and we put the car in charger. And then we go and come back and put the car in charger. So almost every time we sit in the car, the battery is actually full and we have the 160 kilometers available. I also want to mention that in the winter, when the temperature goes below -degrees, the car loses about 40 kilometers, which is about 25 miles from the range just to the cold. And this is a big cut for us. In the winter time, we have experienced 2 times or 3 times that we almost completely ran out of electricity. One time we even ran out of electricity 1 kilometer away from home, and we even made a video about that. You can check that here. So the winter does affect the Nissan Leaf quite a lot. But all these points that I have told you here, all the plus and minus points, overall we are extremely happy with this car. This is a super safe family car. You do get a lot of extra luggage space because the electric engine does not take up space in the car, so it's perfect with the kids. And the having and owning the car is extremely economical, and we are good for the environment. And on top of that, the car has very fast acceleration.